Travelers, take note. Canada has rolled out a sweeping set of new travel rules for 2025 that every U.S. visitor needs to understand. While some updates look like small tweaks to paperwork, others could disrupt vacations, business trips, or even family reunions. If you're planning to cross the border this year, knowing the details is crucial. One overlooked step could mean being turned away at the airport or waiting hours at land crossings. Stay with us until the very end. Rule number 1 is the most surprising and has already caught thousands of Americans off guard. It could completely reshape the way you prepare for your trip. Before we begin, remember that all sources for this video are listed in the description. Let's dive into the top 10 changes. 10. Expanded ADA requirements in 2025. Canada strengthened its electronic travel authorization system for U.S. passengers arriving by air. Previously, most Americans could simply present a valid passport. Now, you must complete an online ADA form, pay a $7 processing fee, and receive digital approval before boarding. Airlines have been instructed to deny passengers without proof. Although the process takes only a few minutes, missing it has already stranded travelers and caused missed flights. Officials say the measure improves border security and tracks arrivals more effectively, while critics argue it complicates what was once a seamless journey. One major airline reported that in the first month alone, over 5,000 U.S. travelers were stopped from boarding after forgetting to secure their ADA clearance. 9. Mandatory biometric verification. As of early 2025, biometric screening applies to American visitors flagged for additional checks. Selected travelers may now need to provide fingerprints and facial scans before entry. Authorities say this speeds up verification and blocks fraudulent documents, but privacy advocates warn of rising surveillance. In January alone, over 12,000 Americans were asked for fingerprints at Canadian airports. While still uncommon, this change signals that biometric data is becoming a permanent feature of Canada's border strategy, something business travelers and frequent flyers should keep in mind. 8. Updated vaccination documentation. Although pandemic restrictions ended years ago, Canada now requires U.S. travelers to carry up-to-date vaccination records, not just for COVID-19 but also for routine immunizations like measles and tetanus. Both printed CDC cards and digital state health records are accepted, but missing paperwork can lead to long questioning or even refusal of entry. Families with children should be extra careful. Several travelers have been turned away this year due to missing childhood vaccine proof. Health officials say global outbreaks justify the policy, making Canada's entry rules some of the strictest in North America. 7. Revised cash declaration limits. Canada has lowered its cash declaration threshold. Any traveler carrying more than $7,000 in cash or similar assets must now declare it, down from the previous $10,000 limit. Failing to declare can result in heavy fines, seizures, or even a travel ban. Officials say the change strengthens anti-money laundering efforts, but visitors heading to casinos or shopping hubs in Ontario and Quebec should take note. One Nevada tourist recently lost $8,000 at the border after assuming the old limit still applied. 6. Intensified vehicle inspections. For those driving across the border, inspections are tougher than ever. Border agents now conduct random, in-depth searches of vehicles, checking luggage, electronics, and even glove compartments. The aim is to intercept firearms, restricted goods, and contraband. Items as small as pepper spray or hunting knives can lead to denial of entry. Some travelers see this as intimidating, but officials argue it's vital for public safety. One Michigan driver reported spending more than 3 hours at Sarnia after a false alarm. His car was dismantled, and nothing illegal was found. Expect possible delays, even for families on road trips. 5. Electronic customs pre-declaration. Canada's expanded CBSA pre-declaration program now requires U.S. air travelers to submit a customs form digitally before landing at major airports like Toronto, Vancouver, or Montreal. Using the mobile app or airport kiosk can shorten processing times by nearly 30%, but errors or missing data can lead to fines or extended questioning. In March alone, over 20,000 travelers faced delays for submitting forms incorrectly. Canada is clearly moving toward paperless borders, so preparation before takeoff is now essential. Light bulb quick reminder. If you appreciate clear updates on travel policies, take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications. It only takes a second, but it helps us keep delivering reliable global tips and news. 4. Tighter criminal record rules. Canada has broadened its inadmissibility criteria. Even minor past offenses, duis, petty theft, or old drug charges, can now block entry unless travelers apply in advance for a temporary resident permit or go through criminal rehabilitation. Hundreds of Americans have already been denied entry under this rule. Critics argue it punishes people for mistakes long in the past, but officials say it's necessary for security and aligns with international standards. 3. New food and agriculture restrictions. Canada now enforces stricter limits on importing foods, plants, and animal products. Beef, poultry, dairy, and even packaged snacks may be seized at the border. Tighter controls also apply to pet food and veterinary paperwork. Officials say the rules help prevent outbreaks like avian flu, while travelers complain they're excessive. To stay safe, leave homemade food and groceries behind or risk losing them, and possibly paying a fine. 2. Extended stay monitoring. Canada has introduced a digital entry-exit system that tracks how long Americans remain in the country. Overstaying the 180-day annual limit can automatically trigger bans on future entry. Snowbirds and long-term visitors must now keep careful records. One Arizona retiree was barred for 2 years after overstaying by just 1 week. Checking your status online before departure is now a smart habit. 1. Climate impact travel fees. Finally, the most unexpected change: Canada's climate impact levy on short-haul flights from the U.S. Starting mid-2025, travelers on routes like New York-Toronto or Boston-Montreal will pay an extra $15 per ticket. Canada says this fee funds carbon offset projects and supports environmental goals, making it one of the first countries to tie climate policy directly to border charges. Environmental advocates call it a bold step towards sustainable travel. Critics argue it puts more cost on tourists than on corporations.